everyone, and welcome. So, today we're going to jump into a core concept in grammar that, often trips people up. We're talking about the difference between two types of verbs, what we call Fe'l Lazim and Fe'l Muta'addi. Now, I know, it sounds super technical, but stick with me because I promise once you know the secret, it's actually incredibly straightforward. Okay, let's dive right in by looking at these two super simple sentences. He laughed and he ate. In English, they look almost identical, right? You've got a subject and a verb, but grammatically, under the hood, they are worlds apart. So that's the big question, isn't it? What's really going on here? What makes these two little actions so fundamentally different from a grammatical point of view? Let's treat it like a puzzle and figure it out together. All right, to solve this little mystery, we need to properly introduce our two main characters. These are the two types of verbs, the two types of actions that are at the very heart of this whole thing. So first step, we've got Fe'l Lazim. This is what's known as an intransitive verb. The best way to think about it is that the action is totally self-contained. It's like an action that stays home. Its effect starts and ends with the person doing it, the subject. For instance, think about it. When someone laughs, the action of laughing really only affects them. Same thing with verbs like entered or sat. The action doesn't really pass on to anyone or anything else. It's all about the doer. And now let's meet the other type, Fe'l Muta'addi, which is a transitive verb. The word Muta'addi itself has this idea of spreading or traveling, and that's exactly what this action does. It travels. It needs a destination. The effect moves from the person doing the action to a receiver. I mean, it just makes sense, right? You don't just read into thin air. You read something, a book, an article. You don't just open. You open something, a door, a window. These verbs absolutely need an object to receive the action. The effect has to land somewhere. So this is all great in theory, but, how can we tell them apart in the real world quickly and easily? Well, it turns out there's a ridiculously simple test you can use. And here it is. This is the secret key. The whole trick is to ask the question kisko, which just means to whom or to what, right after the verb. The answer you get, or maybe the fact that you don't get a sensible answer, tells you everything you need to know. Okay, let's put it to the test. Let's take the verb sat. Now, if we ask, sat whom or sat what? Well, that's just nonsense, right? The question completely falls apart. And that logical dead end is our proof. The verb is lazim. It's intransitive. Now, let's try it with a muta'addi verb, like hit. If we ask, hit whom or hit what? Suddenly, the question makes perfect sense. You can hit a person, you can hit a ball. Because a logical answer is possible, we know for sure this verb is muta'addi. It's transitive. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so now that we've got a handle on identifying the action itself, let's meet the cast of characters that make up these sentences. There are really three key players you need to know. First, you've got the fe'l. That's just the verb, the action. Then there's the fa'il. That's our subject, the one doing the action. And then the all-important maf'ool. That's the object, the person or thing that receives the action. And this right here is the golden rule that connects everything we've talked about. A fe'l muta'addi, or traveling verb, needs a destination. It has to have a maf'ool, an object, to make any sense. But our stay-at-home verb, the Fe'l Lazim, is totally fine on its own. It doesn't need an object at all. All right, let's put these two concepts into a direct head-to-head showdown. I think seeing them side by side like this is going to make the difference absolutely crystal clear. Look at this. On the left, you've got your lazim verbs, actions that are complete all by themselves. He entered. He laughed. But on the right, you've got the muta'addi verbs, and these actions are practically begging for an object. He read. What? He opened. What? He wrote. What? You can really feel that the ones on the right are incomplete, can't you? Okay, fantastic. Now it's time to put all the pieces together. Let's take what we've learned and apply it to a complete sentence and really see this grammar in action. Let's break down the classic sentence. David killed Goliath. So first, the verb, the fa'al, is killed. Let's use our test. Killed whom? Totally makes sense. So it's a muta'addi verb. Check. Now, who's the doer, the fa'al? That would be David, and he's in what we call the nominative case. And who received the action? Who's the maf'ool? That's Goliath. and he's in the accusative case. Now, this is where it gets really powerful. Those grammatical cases, nominative and accusative, they're like hidden labels on the words. They're so important that even if you mixed up the sentence and said, Goliath David killed, those case endings would still tell you who did what to whom. The grammar itself reveals the truth, no matter how you arrange the words. So there you have it, the simple difference between an action that stays home and an action that travels. Now that you're armed with the Kisco secret and you understand the roles of the fa'il and the maf'ool, let me leave you with this question. How is this going to change the way you look at sentences from now on? Thanks for joining me.